Hey there, guys, and welcome back to the Travis and Damian Podcast, episode 29. We are available on anchor.fm/Travis Damian Podcast, along with iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and many more. Today, we're going to take a look at one piece of news about a Nintendo rumor, and then we're going to go into recent activities, then a bunch of PS5 rumors we're going to close the show out with. So, first and only thing, is that there's a rumor about a 2D Metroid game along with a traditional Paper Mario game to be released sometime this year. So this comes from a quote-unquote credible source from Twitter. And the fact that we're getting a 2D Metroid game is kind of exciting because Metroid Samus Returns on the 3DS was, I think, an overall good title. And then a traditional Paper Mario game is definitely exciting to hear.
Yeah, because, I love Paper Mario 64, the first one that came out. I haven't actually beaten Thousand Year Door, and I probably should. But, obviously that one's very acclaimed. Like, that's everyone's favorite Paper Mario game. And then that's when the series starts to get weird. Like, Super Paper Mario, a lot of people like, but, the gameplay is definitely not the same as the first two. Mm-hmm. And then Sticker Star and Color Splash, they kind of went back to a turn-based style, but they did some weird stuff where you can't level up and you collect stickers. I personally hated Sticker Star, a lot.
Same.
When I first saw it on the directs, I was like, oh, this looks really cool, because it's back to how Paper Mario was. But, the game had, no personality. It was very bland. The combat system was really bad, at least to me. And Color Splash just looked more of the same. I know some people say it's a little bit better, but I don't know. If they could, just go back to how the first two were, then I would be extremely happy. Because I think Paper Mario 1 and 2 are very, very good games, so it would be nice to have them go back to that traditional style again.
Yeah.
And for
go
on.
I'm definitely just hoping that Nintendo can go back to their roots and do it well, because it seems like with a lot of their things, especially with Mario Party, once they do something, it's hard for them to transition back in a way.
Yeah, I guess because they always want to innovate and stuff like that, and they don't want to make a series too stale. But I feel like they've been doing it wrong. Also, with Miyamoto's hatred for story in games, it really hurts the RPG series. What you call it? Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi. Oh my god, my voice. Basically, they got murdered because he doesn't want story.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. It is just how Miyamoto is as a game developer, which is really odd. But, the 2D Metroid game, like I said, definitely exciting, especially if it's going to be on the Switch instead of the 3DS like last time. So, yeah, definitely some exciting rumors. But, I always take rumors with a grain of salt, as always. So
yeah, there's still rumors, so don't. I'm dying. Excuse this, jeez. I'm dying from the virus that everyone's having. Probably not, though.
Shit, bro. It's probably just a really bad cold.
Yeah, probably. But anyway, yeah, like I was saying, hopefully they could fix that, because the Mario RPGs have not been very good lately, so.
All right, so I'm going to dive into my recent activities. Maybe you could go ahead and get some water in the meantime.
Yeah, I have water right here, so.
Oh, okay. So, obviously been playing League. Games are now that LCS and LECF started, I've actually like playing League a lot more, because now I know what's good and what's bad in terms of items and champions sort of thing. So this item Stone Plate, you pretty much just press it and you become super tanky. And before I didn't build it at all, because I didn't think it was a support item, quote unquote, because it really isn't. It's more like a tank item. But since the meta is all just tank supports, you kind of just rush it and then just yellow it in team fights. You just stand in 3 people and then you just pop it and you're just super tanky and they can't really kill you as fast. So I've been having a lot of good games because of that, because now I know what to build and what's good in terms of champion picks and stuff like that. So I've been enjoying the game a lot more. But obviously, coin flipping, people, bad attitudes, this and that, mental boom. Then I played Mario & Rabbids Kingdom Battle. The reason I played this was because I went on a flight to Cali to Genesis 7, which was super duper fun. And I decided to bring this game along with me, and only this game, because I was like, I'm going to play this game a lot. I played it on the way there before the flight, and then the flight, I was just playing like a bunch of like random phone games, and then on the way back, I was just too fucking tired. I started playing it for a bit, and then I just shut it off because I'm like, this game's like, it's fun, but it's like XCOM but for babies,
Basically.
which is what Kofi said. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty much that.
Yeah.
So, but I still enjoyed my time with it. I think I got like 2 to 3 hours into it or something like that, but it's definitely like a nice introduction into like that style of games. And then I watched Sex Education on Netflix. I actually rewatched the first season unintentionally because I wanted to show Kofi. And I was like, when I get home, I'm going to watch season 2 because this shit's like actually like really good. And season 2 is pretty much like more of the same, but like they obviously expand on like characters and their arcs and stuff like that. So obviously the show is called Sex Education, so it is definitely not safe for work like at all. Like definitely the furthest not safe for work show on Netflix, I would say. So, but there's that.
I mean, yeah, I would probably gather that by the name.
Yeah, exactly. So,
all right. So for me, I've been playing Temtem. So I know this is like a game that's been gaining a lot of traction lately, just because Sword and Shield has kind of not been great. I mean, I kind of explained Sword and Shield. Like, I don't really need to like further go into it, but people are really not happy with the state of Pokemon, especially like the battle system. So what Temtem does is really fixes that battle system. It doesn't, like, for the people saying like, hey, this is a new Pokemon or whatever, like I don't think that's true, because a lot of the elements are still very much just Pokemon. You see any gameplay and it's like, oh, that's Pokemon. like you were saying earlier. But yeah, for Temtem, it really does fix up the a lot of systems it has in place. So everything is a double battle. So that inherently makes the battles like more strategic, because in Pokemon everything is usually a single battle, or at least in like in the story mode, like everything's usually like a single battle, and you can't really do much in single battles. I like single battles, but usually it's just like, hey, I'm gonna wall your other Pokemon in like competitive, and that's it. So you could do like a lot of cheesy stuff in single battles, but in this game's all double battle, so you can't really like cheese as much. I mean, you can, like, there's different types of cheese, but it takes a little more strategizing with what Pokemon or Temtem you want to bring with you. There's a new thing called a synergy system where some moves get powered up based on the type of the other Temtem you have next to you. So if a move is like a water type, sort of like Surf, it does damage to all the enemies on screen, or to all their other Temtems or whatever. If you have like a wind type next to you or a flying type, it does more damage and stuff like that. So there's a lot of cool things where you gotta choose like what party like you want to really bring with you and stuff like that, and it just makes the battling more like engaging. Also, they took away the PP system in Pokemon, where you didn't like, that wasn't like, it's basically a non-system where it's like, hey, you can only use this move a number of times before like you can't use it anymore. But usually doesn't really mean anything in battle, since you would never really run out unless it's like really low. Mm-hmm. Like like Earthquake or something where it's like 5. In this one you have like a stamina bar where more powerful moves take up like a lot of stamina, so it's something you really have to like actually like engage with, unlike the PP system where that's more of a thing in between battles. So I think Temtem, the battling system is like way better than Pokemon, but everything else is very much still Pokemon. So again, for the people that are saying like, hey, like this game is like gonna like, I guess like make Game Freak change their mind or how they do things, like I don't think it's gonna do that at all. But I think if you're a fan of Pokemon, you will really enjoy this game, because again, it does really make you think more, and I think the strategy is just a lot more fun. And it's hard, like it's a hard game. Like, I actually came close to dying a lot of times already. So yeah, it does a great job. Like, honestly, I'm enjoying it a lot. It's in early access, but like only half the content's in. But I already have like 10 hours in the game, and I've only done like 1 gym battle, and I think there's 4 gym battles in this. Mm-hmm. So it definitely has a lot of content. So I definitely recommend it. Like if you're like hardcore Pokemon fan, were disappointed with Sword and Shield and don't mind buying into early access, then I think this is a good pickup right now, because I think there's a ton of content in the game so far. But you can always wait, and you probably should, because early access. I've also been playing Ni no Kuni 1. I played the second one. I always wanted to play the first one, but I never got around to it. I think I have it on PS3 somewhere, but it was something I just never finished, and I kind of regretted it. I like the second one, but I want to like it more. I'm like 10 hours into the first one right now, and it's already like way better, which is what I heard. I heard the second one wasn't as good as the first one, which was kind of disappointing. But this first game already just has way more charm. Like, it has the animated cutscenes from Ghibli, you know, the people who made Spirited Away and stuff like that, because, you know, the art style is heavily, influenced by them. The combat is way more interesting than the second one, where it's just like an action game, like action RPG, where you just do combos and stuff. And I said before, I'm not a really big fan of that sort of combat, because like it's kind of fun to play at first, but then it gets very old where you're just like spamming the same button. I know you could say that about turn-based stuff, because you could just like, hey, I'm just gonna press like attack and stuff like that, but whatever. I feel like the combat system of this game is way better, where it's like a weird mix of action RPG and like a turn-based RPG, where you could like use like, again, like sort of Pokemon. I was in kind of a Pokemon mood after Sword and Shield, if you couldn't tell. But yeah, basically you get these little familiars and they can fight for you and stuff like that. I feel like there's a lot more customization and stuff you could do than in the second game, so I've been highly enjoying that. I think the story is a lot more charming. You know, the game just feels more focused in general. So yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot so far. I can't say too much because I'm only like 10 hours in, but so far where I'm playing, I already like it way more than 2. So yeah, take that. And this is also the remaster version, so you can now play it on like PC and Switch. But the Switch version is like not remastered; it's just a straight port of the PS3 version. So that's a little weird. But the PS4 version and the PC version are remastered, so you get like 1080p. So that's nice. And last, I've been watching. I actually finished the first season of One Punch Man. This was a thing I wanted to watch for a while, so I finally got around to it, and it's very, very good. It's like a great parody of both like hero stuff and like shonen anime stuff, and it's just great. Like, the animation's insane in this show. Like, I know it goes really downhill in season 2, at least in terms of animation wise. Like, I heard the story and stuff is still good, but like the action sequences in this show are like insane. Like, it's fantastic to watch. But yeah, you know, this show has been talked about to death already. But yeah, I'm just going to keep it short. You know, it's a good parody of both superhero stuff and shonen, like, anime stuff. Has very smart writing. It's very funny, and I would recommend it.
Mm-hmm. That's good to hear. Okay, so now we're going to dive into some of the PS5 rumors we've been hearing. Obviously, rumors can be brought up from legit anything. You know, just some idiot on Twitter could just be like, hey, this is what I heard from XYZ. So these are just some of the rumors that I think are more believable or more true in a way. So first up is the release date. I think they already announced this. I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong on this, but it's supposed to be like holiday later this year, which probably makes a lot of sense, honestly.
Yeah,
because
like, I would think so, right?
Yeah, because like I don't see a reason to like launch it like midway through this year, or like even earlier. Like, it seems like that would be a little unnecessary, sort of thing. So I think the best time would definitely be holiday. But then again, you know, I believe Xbox is launching holiday too, so there's definitely going to be a lot of competition there, but competition's always good. So
plus you know, during the holiday people just buy more things, you know.
True. That is very, very true.
So it wouldn't surprise me if they do it at holiday as well.
Then the price point, it's rumored to be $500 or like $499, whatever. Personally, I want to say it's that price, but I think it could be more. Like,
I think it might be more, because 500 actually seems kind of low for what I was expecting, honestly.
Yeah, especially for like what these new consoles are supposed to be like packing.
Yeah.
Like, if they do price it at 500, it's definitely going to be at a loss for them.
Wait, how much was the PS4 on launch?
The PS4, I believe, was 400 at launch.
Oh, okay.
So it's not that bad of a jump, but you know, like what they're trying to promise here. Obviously, specs wise, these are rumors. AMD CPU, 8K resolution, and they're gonna have SSD drives. So like load times are gonna be like
way
pretty
faster.
much non-existent.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like 8K resolution, I'm not like, you know, super like crazy about, because I think resolution's like the last thing I really look for in like games or like gaming consoles in general, or whatever. You know, like when I play games on PC, I would much rather play at 60 FPS at like 480p than like, 1080p at like 30,
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, like the bare minimum for resolution is like 1080p, like, like that's what I'm about used to, like, or 4K res. Like, I don't know, yeah, that stuff doesn't really matter to me that much. The SSDs is definitely what I'm more interested in, just for the faster load times. So, and that's why, the PS5 and Xbox X, whatever, they're both focusing on that point. So I'm glad that they really are focusing on that. Oh, and hopefully, I mean, I think the Xbox One X mention, or whatever it's called, new Xbox, is focusing on 60 FPS, right? Did they say that? I forget.
Yeah, I believe that's like their main focus, which is a good thing, because I think that's where we should be headed, is like getting a steady like 60 FPS frame rate on like all games, not just some, but like all games, because I think at this point in like the year 2020 going into 2021, by the time these consoles do come out, I think 60 FPS should be the standard.
Yeah.
Then the controller, I think we've already talked about this before with the haptic feedback and the adaptive triggers. It just seems kind of gimmicky and just like not all that like interesting or important. Like it's probably going to be like the developers are going to use it for like the first like 2-3 months when the console's out, and then they're just going to forget about it.
Yeah, like it's like the Joy-Cons with the HD rumble. Like no one really uses it except Nintendo, so
yeah. It's also with the previous like PlayStation consoles with
that
like
too.
6-axis.
Yeah,
and the touchpad. You know, like no one really uses that stuff. Then backwards compatibility. I think we've also briefly touched on this in previous episodes, but some articles are saying it's only going to be PS4 backwards compatible. Some are like it's going to be backwards compatible with all PlayStation things. Yeah. I think backwards compatibility has not been like a priority in like more of the recent consoles. So like for example, like all of Nintendo's recent consoles after the Wii, I guess like the Wii U was backwards compatible, but like Switch now is just the Switch, and then the Xbox has been getting better with the backwards compatibility thing, but PlayStation has pretty much been like, all right, the PS3 launch console was backwards compatible with the PS2 and PS1, and then it was just PS1 games only for some weird reason.
Yeah.
And then PS4 I think is not backwards compatible with anything. No, I believe.
Yeah. I don't think it is.
Yeah. So if they're actually going to push this whole backwards compatibility thing, it's going to be kind of crazy. It's probably all going to be like emulated sort of thing, if I had to guess, because like playing it straight off the disc is probably going to cost more.
Yeah, like I would love it could be play every single PlayStation thing, but I highly doubt it, because that was the reported first rumor, right? That it could like play everything. I think now I would be happy at least for PS4 games,
Yeah, so we could at least put one console away if we still want to play those last gen games or whatever.
I mean, I would love to like get rid of my PS3 finally, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
Unfortunately, but you never know, because the rumored date for like the press conference thing where they show off everything for the PS5 is supposed to be sometime in February, but nothing's been confirmed yet. So the games, the launch titles, I think the only one that's like really notable for us was like Godfall. That was like officially announced, which is like a looter slasher, which is what they described it as, which is very interesting. But these are just some games that we think are probably going to be on the PS5, either as launch titles or within the first year or two. So we'll do these first two together because they're going to come out on the PS4 first.
Yeah.
So Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima. It just seems like those games are going to be like really good on the PS4 probably, like in terms of like, reviews and critics, but also like I don't see why they wouldn't put them on the PS5, because like they did that with the first Last of Us, where it was like, all right, we released on the PS3, but we know it was like pretty late, so they just re-released it on the PS4.
Yes.
So I have a feeling that they're going to do the same with these two.
Yeah, I was thinking they would probably do that, like, do like a re-release, like maybe like, a few months later. Or they could like sort of like demonstrate like, hey, it's backwards compatible, so you could like play these two games on PS5. So that's what I was thinking, but Because I know
that'd probably be easier with the backwards compatibility thing. Just like repackage it.
Yeah, because like, you know, they're releasing so soon before the PS5 that I think like being able to like advertise their backwards compatibility with like the last two big PS4 games would be a good way to like sort of, you know, like, hey, if you didn't have a PS4, you could buy a PS5 and still play these hit games. That's what I think, but I'm not too sure. They're close to just re-release it again, but we'll see.
Yeah. We'll see what officially happens. So the first like real game I guess we both are probably going to see from the PS5 is the sequel to Marvel's Spider-Man from Insomniac Games. They're probably working on it right now, like without a doubt, because like that game was so successful for both Marvel, Sony, and Insomniac. You know, like that game just did super duper well, and you know it had DLC as well, and like overall, like I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with the game, but like, you know, like in terms of like a sequel, like there's definitely a lot that they could probably add in and improve, and definitely the story I'm the most interested in. So
yeah, I mean they set up stuff for a sequel already. You know, by the end we finished the DLCs and stuff like that. Like in terms of gameplay, you know, I'm basically, you know, okay with everything, but you know the game does sort of feel like a generic open world game if it wasn't with Spider-Man. You know what I mean? So they probably like make things a little more interesting, I guess, in the sequel, but. You know, it's definitely a no-brainer that a sequel is coming for the PS5 soon. So I am very much excited for that.
Okay. Next one is like a dream game, I guess, from both of us, because Insomniac Games may or may not return to this IP, but Ratchet and Clank, they haven't touched it since they did the whole movie game tie-in thing or whatever.
That was 4 years ago.
Yeah, that was a really, really long time ago. But that game was honestly like pretty good in terms of like a gameplay perspective, but like the story was just based on the movie, and like what the movie was like a retelling of like the original Ratchet and Clank story.
Yeah.
So
like I don't think they're gonna abandon it. Like, you know, like Insomniac still seems like they love all their IPs. Like I feel like Naughty Dog, once they're like done with like an IP, they get like they eat it, like they just don't want to touch it anymore. I don't know why they're like that, but they do that. I don't know. I think Insomniac might return to Ratchet and Clank one day. I think it's gonna be a really long time from now at this point, because usually we will have another Ratchet and Clank game by now. But you know, I think it's probably good for the series to take a long break. You know, I love Ratchet and Clank and I would love a new one, but maybe it's good for Insomniac to really like, you know, get like a new thing going with Spider-Man here, because you know Resistance didn't really do that hot. Like it did okay, but like Spider-Man's like that like next big thing, so. I would like if they focus on that and maybe give Ratchet a bit of a break until like sometime in the future. Like again, this hurts me saying because I love Ratchet and Clank, but maybe it's best for the series. You know, just give us some time to, you know, just lay there for a bit, you know, and let Spider-Man take the reins here.
Yeah, because I think if they were to do like another like Ratchet and Clank sort of like trilogy, because that was like a rumored article going around, which like I didn't take for like anything. Like I was like, all right, this is just another stupid rumor, but it was about like how it was gonna be like a sequel to like the future trilogy or whatever, and I'm like, I don't know, man. You know, like Spider-Man's looking really hot, like you said, and I don't see why they would go back to Ratchet and Clank, especially when Spider-Man was such a financial success, but also it was just like a really goddamn good game.
Yeah.
So, you know, if they were to do that, they would probably just split the teams, which might hurt them. I'm not sure. But ideally, just focus on Spider-Man right now. I think we're okay with no Ratchet and Clank for a while.
Yeah, at least for now.
Yeah. Then another one of my personal dream games is Infamous, for that series to come back. The series actually trended on Twitter because IGN posted like a thing like, which PlayStation 3 IP would you like to see return on the PS5?
I saw that.
And like Infamous was like trending on Twitter, and I was like, what the fuck? Like this shit's crazy. Like I really like Infamous, especially Infamous 2. Second Son on the PS4 was alright, which is why they like stepped back from that series and worked on Ghost of Tsushima since. But yeah, I mean, with the way Infamous 2 ended, it's kind of hard to continue the series, which is why they did Second Son in a way with like a new character and everything like that. So I'm not sure if they'll ever return to the IP, but I would like to see them, you know, give a sort of like nod or like notice to us people that really want a sequel, like all those people on Twitter did. So
yeah, I mean, I really like Infamous 1. I never played Infamous 2, and I probably should. But I would like more of it because I really did like the first one a lot. So, and I really should like finish that series.
Yeah.
Also with this next game here.
Oh God. Okay. So when it comes to Sly Cooper, so there was a recent interview with Kind of Funny, which is Greg Miller and like his little show that he has, and he did a recent interview with what's his name? He was the creative director at Sanzaru Games, and at the end he sort of just like asked him about Sly and everything like that. He's like, look man, they've been doing like VR stuff for like the past couple of years or whatever. So like when he was asked about Sly Cooper, he was like, hey man, they would love to return to the Sly series. They actually plan to do like a DLC piece for Sly 4 on the PS3 to like sort of like wrap up the story kind of, because they definitely left it off in a cliffhanger. I'm not sure if it was to wrap the story or what it was, but they wanted to do some sort of DLC, like a significant, like story DLC piece for that game, but Sony never like greenlit it or whatever. And yeah, it's pretty much just Sony's call for them to be like, all right, you guys can make another Sly Cooper game, because they would love to do it. It's just that they don't have the say to do so. So ever since that interview came out, there's been a lot of just like BS rumors about like Sly 5 happening, and every single one I've just been like shrugging and been like, it's probably not gonna happen. Like at this point, like there have been so many like Sly Cooper things since Sly 4 that has happened, like the movie, like that was supposed to happen and that isn't happening like at all anymore, because I believe the studio that had the rights to it, they lost them and Sony just took them back. And then they were supposed to do like a Netflix sort of style series, and that obviously never happened because I was from that same studio that wanted to do the movie, but they switched off to a series, and that nothing has panned out for Sly since, which is unfortunate. But would I be really excited if a Sly 5 did officially get announced? Hell yeah. But it's just looking really grim. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, like at this point we might just get a reboot. I think it's been too long. I mean, Sly 4 came out like what, 2013 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think with like any sort of like IP that's like really old, if you want to see what the interest is within the current dynamic of like the gaming industry sort of thing, is like you just do a remaster or a re-release, like with Crash Bandicoot. Like that shit worked so perfectly.
That'd be really good for Sly. I mean, that'd be good for all the PS2, like, mascot platformers, Ratchet and Clank, Jack and Daxter Sly. I would love that.
Either they just do like a, quick, just like HD whatever, or they actually like remaster the games. Like either way, like that's how you gauge audiences and sort of been like, oh, okay, people really still want Crash Bandicoot. So, that obviously happened. And then I have a question mark next to this next one. Uncharted 5. So me personally, I played every single Uncharted game, including The Lost Legacy, which is like a spin-off after Uncharted 4. And like when Uncharted 4 initially got announced, I was like, I thought Uncharted 3 kind of like ended things pretty well. But Uncharted 4 honestly was a much better ending and really concluded everything like as a whole. So there was a like little epilogue thing at the end of Uncharted 4, which some people may think it may hint at Uncharted 5. I just think that it's just a open-ended sort of like ending, so people can like, it's just open-ended, like it doesn't have to lead into a sequel, but that's just how people want things to be these days for whatever reason. So Uncharted 5, like if it happens, it happens, but this franchise has gone on long enough, I think.
Yeah. I mean, again, like what I was saying with Naughty Dog, they really like to move forward, so I really highly doubt they'll ever go back to Uncharted. I don't know, maybe they might, but just knowing Naughty Dog, they probably just like, they're kind of done with it and they want to do like Last of Us and then a new IP after that, probably. So at least that's my, that given their track record, that's basically what I think they're going to do.
Yeah. Next game I got here is Horizon Zero Dawn 2. So when this game was initially shown off, I still remember that people were like, holy shit, this game looks cool. Because it honestly,
cool,
yeah, it's honestly just like a super cool, just like open world game with like robot like animals everywhere. And it's like, what the hell's going on? But the game itself, I played it and I finished it. I don't remember a lot of the story, if I'm going to be honest, but The gameplay was definitely super duper fun. It was definitely a really good like open world experience. So yeah, if they were to do a sequel with the power of the PS5, it would probably be a lot better and probably a much bigger world, which is kind of hard to comprehend at this point.
Yeah, I still need to play it. Like, that game's always on sale for like $20 with like the big DLC. So I really need to play it because I remember seeing all the E3s. I'm like, oh man, this game looks super cool. But then it came out like right next to Breath of the Wild, and that just like kind of killed it for me. So
yeah, I think the game did release a little too close to that game, but
yeah.
Moving on, we got the sequel to the recent God of War reboot.
Yeah.
So the new God of War game I think is pretty good, but I'm not like in love with it sort of thing.
I love it.
It's definitely a really, really, really good game, and they definitely set it up for a sequel like pretty well. I feel like that the first game was more of like a prologue, like the whole game's just a prologue, and I think the second game's gonna be like where shit gets crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how I feel like too. Like, the first one just setting up the world, to show Kratos in this new environment with like the kid and stuff like that, and then the sequel is probably gonna like really ramp things up,
Mm-hmm. And then the last game we got here is a new Batman game.
Yeah,
in like the Arkham style.
Yeah, people have been saying that for like years right now, right? Like, didn't people?
Look, it's literally because WB Montreal has been like teasing like Batman stuff for like a while, and they recently did it again. So I don't know what they're doing. Either they're trolling or messing around, but that studio has to be working on something, and every single time it's been something hinting at Batman. So I don't know if they're going to do another Batman game without Rocksteady, because we still don't know what the hell Rocksteady's been working on. Like, that's still kind of crazy. But, a new Batman game, I don't know how they're going to pull it off. Is it going to take place after Arkham Knight, or is it going to be like another like sort of like prequel game with like Arkham Origins? I'm not sure. But, superhero games, as long as they're good and they feel right, I don't mind.
Yeah, basically. Like, the Arkham games and the new Spider-Man game are like the only like good hero games, and I don't think the the Avengers game is gonna do anything better, So having another good Batman game would definitely be appreciated. So
yeah. All right. So is there anything else you would like to add, good stuff?
No, I think that's it.
All right, guys. So that is it for this episode of the Travis and Damian Podcast. Thank you guys for listening to us once again. We will see you guys 2 weeks from now with another episode.
See ya.